The zilbarley drew a deep breath, its bioluminescent stalks quivering in anticipation as it steadied its ion blaster, with all 6 appendages aimed squarely at the fleshy pink back of the oblivious human. This would be the first time in galactic history that a zilbarley hunted human prey, and if successful, it would cement the insectoid status as the apex predator in the Traxxas region. Little did the overconfident Zil know, this human had survived encounters with fiercer aliens than it could ever imagine. Today, it would be the alien doing the regretting. The zilbarley savored the moment, its body trembling with excitement at the prospect of being the first of its kind to take down one of the elusive humans. It had heard the myths about how ferocious and cunning these pink-skinned creatures were, but it did not believe the exaggerations. Nothing could be a match for a zilbarley hunter. Its spiracles contracted as it prepared to pull the ion blaster's trigger, but the human suddenly spun around, fixing the Zilar with a cold, hard stare. In a flash, the human had drawn a compact railgun and fired a kinetic penetrator straight towards the zilbarley. The insectoid barely managed to leap out of the way, the projectile grazing one of its frontal appendages as it burrowed into the crystal wall behind. The Zilar let out a shrill cry, more from shock than pain. It scrutinized this human, noting its powerful muscles rippling under a tactical armored suit, the matte black metal exoskeleton encasing its limbs, and the menacing array of weapons strapped to its thighs and back. Fear crept into the zilbarley's mind. What had it gotten itself into? The human marched towards it, weapons still aimed directly at the cowering alien. Wrong day, Bug the human growled in perfect Zilic, the traditional language of the Xiles. The hunter had become the hunted. The overconfident zilbarley realized too late that it had made a grave mistake. These humans were as relentless and fearsome as the legend said, but it would not go down without a fight. The human took another step forward, its heavy boots crunching on the crystalline gravel that covered the cavern floor. The zilbarley scuttled backward until its carapace pressed up against the smooth, faceted wall, antenna flexing nervously, as all 6 of its inky black eyes focused on the imposing figure approaching with railgun aimed and ready. I do not understand, the zilbarley chittered in its native tongue, mandibles clicking together in anxiety. Why do you hunt me when it was I who sought you as my prize? The human's lip curled in a sneer, its voice a low rumble, as it responded in flawless Zilic. You seek me as prey, yet know nothing of my kind. The zilbarley's mind raced, trying to make sense of this strange turn of events. It had stalked this lone human for cycles across broken moonscapes, cloaked in stardust, patiently waiting for its chance to strike. The legend spoke of humans as fierce opponents, but nothing had prepared it for this confrontation. I meant you no harm, the Zilar tried pleading, slowly shifting its weight to see if escape was possible. I only wished to honor the hunt and prove my worth among the colony. The human paused its advance, head cocked to one side as it considered the Zil's words. For a moment, it seemed to relent. Then, in a flash, its railgun was aimed directly at one of the Zil's primary stalks, threatening a killing blow. Your kind sees us as prey to be hunted, the human growled, but we will hunt the hunters until none remain who would threaten our worlds. The Zilar froze, shuddering at the abject violence promised in the human's tone. These were no mere legends or stories passed between its kind. This was a survivor, hardened by endless cycles of conflict with other beings who had underestimated human ferocity. The standoff lingered, the tense silence broken only by the Zil's spiracles wheezing in fear. It did not wish to die here, alone in this crystalline cavern at the edge of the known. But escape seemed unlikely, with the human weapon poised to end its existence, unless it could find the right words to turn the human's wrath. But what argument could prevail against such entrenched vengeance? The zilbarley's mind spun with possibilities, searching for the right approach to make the human see reason. The choice of words here could mean its salvation or swift demise. The Zil's spiracles flared as it considered its next words carefully. What if I swore to never hunt humans again? It rasped, watching for any shift in the human's unwavering aim. Would you show me mercy and allow me to return to my colony with this newfound wisdom? The human remained motionless, finger resting lightly near the railgun's trigger. The zilbarley waited, mandibles twitching nervously in the silence. Finally, the human lowered its weapon just a fraction. Your kind hunts for sport and status, the human replied. How can I trust your word when your ways are antithetical to ours? The Zil's antennae curled inward, recognizing the truth of the human's accusation. Its colony prized hunters who could track elusive and dangerous prey. This human would be the ultimate trophy. It is our way, the Zilar conceded, but we follow the ancient codes passed down since the first brood. I invoke the rights of the hunt, and you emerge the victor." Though it pained the Zealer to admit defeat, appealing to its species' rituals seemed the only hope. "You have proven your dominance. I relinquish all claims and leave you to your worlds in peace." The human considered this, head tilting once more. The railgun lowered further as it searched the Zilbarley's face, perhaps judging the veracity of its words. "You would return to your colony and speak of this encounter?" The human asked. "Describe how a lone human bested you after cycles of pursuit." The Zealer wavered, knowing how such a tale would be received. To come so close to the ultimate prize only to fail would bring dishonor and shame. But it was bound by the ancient codes to recount this hunt truthfully. "I must adhere to our ways, though the telling will not bring me glory," the Zealer said, "but I will urge that your worlds be left alone, that no others seek human prey." After a long pause, the human holstered its railgun. The Zilbarley relaxed slightly now that the weapon was put away. Perhaps it would leave this cavern intact after all. "Go then," Hunter the human said. "Tell your colony of what transpired here. But know that if any others come seeking human prey, we will not show such mercy again." Its ominous warning delivered, the human turned and strode away without a backward glance. The Zilbarley slowly unfurled from its crouched position, wary of any tricks, but the human truly seemed to have let it go. Still shaken, the Zilbarley made for the cavern entrance as swiftly as its 6 legs allowed. As it scrambled up the crystalline slope back to the surface, many cycles of pursuit and the looming promise of glory now just a fading memory, it wondered if any in the colony would believe the tale it carried. It pondered the enigma of these humans, so fierce in defending their worlds yet capable of mercy when shown the proper respect. As the Zilbarley disappeared across the broken moonscape, the human watched from high above on an outcropping, obscured in shadows. It had learned much from this encounter as well. The hunters could be reasoned with if given the chance, but humanity would not cower or hide from those who meant them harm. They would meet any threat with cunning and determination. As it made its way back to the shuttle, the human allowed a grim smile in consideration of the Zilbarley's words. Perhaps fear of retaliation would succeed where diplomacy had too often failed in dissuading hostile races. The galaxy was vast and humanity's reach still limited. They must guard their worlds against those who did not yet understand the human spirit. The galaxy would come to learn in time humanity bowed to no one. Fear, mercy, reason, or destruction, whatever path led to security would be their way. With a final glance back across the dead moon's pitted surface, the human boarded the shuttle. There were still preparations to make, alliances to strengthen, and always new dangers to face. But humanity would be ready. The galaxy had yet to witness their full potential. Fear and respect were potent tools, and weapons would speak for those who refused to listen. The heavy bay doors of the mining vessel clanged shut as the last of the suited crew shuffled inside, boots ringing on the metal deck plates. Captain Tara Jansen turned to survey her ragtag team as artificial gravity kicked in and the ship disengaged from the outer airlock of Station Zeta. They were an odd assortment of species, most bearing the scars of past battles or misadventures etched across their carapaces, scales, and skin. But tough jobs called for tough crews, and this job was as high risk as they came. Jansen cleared her throat, the motley group turning their attention to the stocky woman whose curly hair had just started showing the first streaks of gray. "All right, people, you know the deal," Jansen barked. "If we pull this off, it's a big payday for everyone. But after we go our separate ways, no questions, no liability. I don't want any records we ever crossed paths." Dongma, the non-human members of the crew, looked blankly at the antiquated Chinese phrase, prompting eye rolls from the other humans. "Understood," Jansen simplified. The group rumbled assent and began dispersing to their stations. The mining vessel rumbled to life, the ion drive sending vibrations through the deck as it moved away from the station, building speed before engaging the hyperjump system. The wormhole vortex of the jump enveloped the ship, a stomach-churning stretching of space and time as the vessel re-emerged into normal space. Jansen glanced at the scanner readout. Right on target. The orange-brown globe of 45 Sigma hung before them. "Take us in easy," Clark Jansen instructed the pilot. "Nice and slow, so we don't set off any proximity alerts." Clark, a copper-skinned man with cybernetic implants, where his eyes had once been, deftly adjusted the trajectory. Jansen stared down at the planet below. 45 Sigma had long ago been classed as uninhabitable by galactic survey teams, but years of civil war and waves of refugees had prompted newer colonization efforts. Government terraforming initiatives seeded human colonies throughout the system, staking a claim on forgotten worlds. This was a chance for a fresh start or to hide away from a troubled past, which was exactly why Jansen and her team were here. Scans had detected tantalizing energy readings on 45 Sigma, anomalous readings that hinted at activities meant to stay hidden, activities likely outside of galactic regulations or ethics. If Jansen's hunch panned out, there would be a massive payoff for whoever managed to breach the secret below first and escape to sell the data. She watched the scanner, waiting for the telltale ping of detection systems that would mean their presence had been noticed. But the ship continued its descent unchallenged through scattered cloud cover towards mist-shrouded mountain peaks. "Take us down into that valley," Jansen instructed. "We'll bunker down and assess our next steps." Clark banked the ship down into the protection of soaring cliff faces. Outside, endless evergreen forest rippled in the updraft of their engines. Somewhere in those mountains was their objective, the source of those anomalous readings. But Jansen knew they'd have to be cautious. Whoever was operating down here wanted their privacy and had enough resources to enforce it. She checked the scanner once more before heading down to the cargo bay to suit up. Still no alerts, no challenges. Maybe they could pull this off after all. Her crew stood waiting by the bay doors, tense and alert, time for the next phase. "All right, boys and girls, I don't need to tell you again how sensitive this op is," Jansen said as the bay depressurized. "We get in quiet, we get the data, and we get out without anyone the wiser. Any questions?" The group shuffled anxiously, ready to get on with it and claim their payday. Jansen hit the bay door controls, lowering the ramp into the silent forest beyond. "Let's go make history, quiet-like." And with that, the motley crew moved out into the mist, the thrill of danger and profit driving them onward towards revelations better left buried, according to the hidden masters of 45 Sigma. But some secrets refused to stay hidden once greed set its sights on them. The Zill continued racing across the barren moonscape, its 6 legs kicking up plumes of space dust as it fled back to its colony. It was still processing the unexpected encounter with the human, its mandibles clicking in agitation. The hunt had not gone as anticipated. As it approached the towering spires of the colony, the Zill Barley felt uncertainty and unease gripping its exoskeleton. How would the elders react when they heard of its failure? For cycles, the Zill Barley had boasted of the glory it would bring to the colony by capturing a human trophy. Now it returned empty-handed, humbled by the merciful human. The bioluminescent lights of the colony gradually came into view, casting an alien glow over the stark landscape. The Zill Barley paused before entering through the shimmering force field that protected the colony's entrance. It straightened its posture, steadied its breathing through its spiracles, and proceeded inside. Immediately, it sensed the surprise emanating from the inhabitants it passed, their antennae twitching with curiosity. Word of the Zill's return had preceded it, yet the human it had stalked was conspicuously absent. As anticipated, the Council of Elders awaited in the central hive, perched on their ceremonial spires overlooking the bustling core of the colony. The Zill Barley approached slowly, antennae lowered submissively. "You return to us empty-handed," the chief elder observed, wispy wings vibrating with interest. "We see no human in your possession. Explain yourself." Hunter the Zill Barley recounted its story in detail, mandibles clicking rapidly as it described the human's unexpected cunning and restraint. The elders listened, motionless, spiracles contracting in disbelief. "This human bested you yet let you live." "Inconceivable," the elder thundered. "You disgrace us with these fanciful lies." The Zill Barley stood firm. "I speak the truth, as sworn by the rights of the hunt." The human is more than a mere animal to be captured as a trophy. They are complex, the elders conferred amongst themselves, debating the Zilbarli's account. Finally, the chief addressed it once more. If what you say is true, then these humans are unlike any other prey we have encountered. We shall not risk provoking their vengeance needlessly. The Zilar relaxed slightly, mandibles slowing their frantic clicking as the elders accepted its testimony. Perhaps other hunters would be dissuaded from pursuing humans. You may go, Hunter, the chief concluded. Remain here and relay your wisdom should any consider seeking human prey. The Zilbarli bowed respectfully and turned to depart the hive's heights. It would live out its cycles here in the colony, sharing its encounter with the younglings and any would-be hunters.